Let's begin. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Podcast76. I'm Ruskeydoo wearing underwear.
And I'm Grey wearing swimming shorts. It's
Anyway,
sweaty
and with
here.
that imagery, let's move swiftly on. It's again hot here in Old Blighty, as you may have guessed.
So warm, so warm.
It's happened.
It's
happened. And they did it so fast. There was no pussyfooting around. They didn't give us teasers a week before. When was the teaser? Like a couple of days ago?
It was 2 days ago. It was on Tuesday.
2 days ago. And boom, here he is. Doomfist is here.
On the PTR.
Yes. Well, I mean, that's how here do you want him to be?
In the main game. What?
Let me explain to you how the hype hit me, because I am so hype right now. I was downstairs cooking dinner. While cooking dinner, I thought, I'll check some Facebook. And then on Facebook, there was this cartoon. It's an anime. There's Doomfist doing amazing things, throwing car doors at people and being awesome. And at that point, I was hyped. At that point, I ran with my dinner, once it was cooked, obviously. Steady on, let's not be dangerous. Cooking is a dangerous thing, potentially. So
Dangerous
let's not go
sport,
crazy.
extreme cooking.
Exactly. And then there was a dev video, and then I found out that he's around in the PTR and playable. It's all very, very exciting.
Yeah, I think this is one of my favourite releases, just in terms of like going from nothing to hero. I think they did a good job. I look forward to more of this. This is right.
Yes. Like in the past when it's been, oh, here's what a hero will do when you can play them in like 2 weeks' time. I find that a little bit like, really? 2 weeks' time? Yes.
I think what they're learning is the Netflix effect.
Which is?
So basically, one of the things that Netflix realized when they went live is giving people everything all at once. They're just like immediately, here you go, is actually really good for consumers. They love it. So like what Netflix do is, for the most part, they don't release stuff on a schedule. They just give you...
They just dump down a load of vids and let people gorge themselves.
Binge. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I quite like that.
Yeah, I'm totally down with this. This is good.
I wonder how long Doomfist will be in the PTR.
So I think someone mentioned on Reddit somewhere that they were coming out July 13th. I don't know.
That would be a week from now, which makes sense.
Makes a degree of sense. And I think that's about when the Summer Games started last year. So again, makes a lot of sense. But again, I just saw it as a comment on Reddit, and I've not been able to verify that at all.
We have nothing to back that up whatsoever.
Yeah, so,
Okay, let's get into the meat of this, shall we? Do we want to go into abilities, or do we want to talk about the trailer and the dev video and such?
I could talk about both, like, quite heartily. They're both meaty topics.
Let's get straight into the abilities and who Doomfist is.
Let's go
how
for
he
it.
plays, really. Because I think that is the crux of it, right?
Really, that's what we're here for.
Okay. So, where to start with this?
He's a melee hero, essentially. For the most part, most of his abilities are getting up close and personal and hitting you.
Which is kind of weird.
It's very weird.
I'm going to explain why it's weird to me. In fact, this is tangent immediately. We haven't even talked about what he can do. Because we already have a melee hero.
Yes.
Reinhardt.
Yes.
And the thing is, once you have two melee heroes, getting a melee system that works kind of 1v1 in a first-person game is quite an intricate thing, right?
Yes.
A lot of it can kind of come down to just smacking each other repeatedly until someone falls over.
Well, what it ends up being is who hit first and who has better latency.
Yes.
And that can be very frustrating.
Yeah. In fact, I think we're jumping ahead of ourselves talking about how Doomfist stacks up against other characters. Let's just talk about what he can do.
Okay. So his primary fire is shooting like a projectile out of his knuckles. He's got 4 knuckles. Each of them is loaded up with a projectile, and it's kind of a shotgun blast. It's got a reasonable... It's not like super long range, but it's not super short range either. It's kind of mid-range.
Yeah, it's actually got quite a tight cone to it.
It's not too bad. You can...
If you hit a headshot, you do like a couple of ticks on someone. It's all right.
Yeah, it's the thing I'd say is the bots in the training room, you can one-shot from about like 3, 4, 5 meters away. And their hitboxes are huge.
You can one-shot them?
Yes.
What, with the shotgun?
Yeah. But I think the reason is because their hitboxes for their head are so massive.
Yes. Okay,
so what I would
sense.
expect is that you could probably do about half damage to someone if you got a good chest shot. Maybe like 2/3, 3/4 damage if you got it really right.
It's kind of scary. It's quite a lot.
It's quite a lot, but it's also probably not super reliable. It's quite slow. You've only got 4 of them.
The reload on it is crazy slow.
Yeah.
That should be mentioned.
Yes.
So this is his kind of like getting into position ability. Aesthetically speaking on these, it's very interesting because it means that his left hand is a cybernetic arm. And in fact, you can see seams on it, but it's a kind of human flesh cybernetic arm. Which, if you think about it, it's pretty crazy in the lore of Overwatch. You can have cybernetics that look like regular human stuff. And
why not?
Well, it does mean that Mercy cut a load of corners when making Genji, right?
That is...
She bought the cheap-ass stuff.
Well, did she? Or is it like high-performance stuff?
Oh, so it's all armoured. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe the fleshy stuff is...
yeah, or maybe
aesthetic.
or maybe he's got the old janky stuff which he got from like his mate Pete down the road. So he's just got the stuff which kind of keeps it together, and it happens to look kind of fleshy, and then maybe that's what he wanted.
No, the fleshiness would be harder to simulate than
maybe
looking just like metal and stuff.
Well, it depends, because like I imagine a lot of people would want their cybernetic attachments to look human, rather than look all mechanical like Junkrats do.
Yeah, but mechanical stuff is easier to make, full stop, right?
It's
because
true.
You don't have to make it look like something. Anyway, we're getting way too far into this one.
Yes. So, yes. Left click, shoot stuff out of his left hand knuckles. Right click is a charged shot. So what you can do is you hold down right click. The longer you hold it down, the further the charge, the harder the charge. And what happens is literally he will charge forwards, knock into an enemy. When he hits an enemy, he stops dead, and the enemy gains all that momentum.
Yes.
So
and then they go flying into a wall, hopefully.
Yes.
Well, they don't get all of the momentum. They don't go that far.
I think they go as far as he would have gone.
Oh, at the end of his charge? No,
that can't be right. No, there is a fixed ratio.
There's some kind of equation in that.
There is.
I'm not entirely sure how it works yet. I think I've only seen people go as far as, say, a Lucio boop.
I'd say, yeah, that's probably actually about right. About as far as a Lucio boop would take you. But so what you can do is you ram into people, and when you connect with them, you do damage. Then if, after connecting with them and doing damage, they then hit a wall, they take extra damage. Yes.
Which is, it's all right.
It's an interesting ability. It is not super easy to pull off, because it
will be simulated. You just launch horizontally through the air when you do this. There's no up and down to it.
It is purely vertical, which means no matter where you're looking... Horizontal, rather. Yeah, it's purely horizontal. No matter where you're looking, you only travel along those axes.
Which will mean hills will be a real issue for Doomfist. Well, because if you're like lower down on a hill than Doomfist, he can't charge you.
Well, he can actually, because he has another ability. Yes.
Oh, well, it's not the same charge though, is it?
It is the same charge, because what you do is you use this ability called Uppercut. Uppercut is shift ability?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's his mobility thing.
Basically, uppercut, you can punch someone up in the air with you, or if you're by yourself, you just jump into the air. And then, whilst in the air, you can actually use your right click to charge up and charge in midair at people. Very difficult to pull off, but you can do it. So people up a hill, be afraid, just not so afraid.
No, I mean down a hill. Down a hill is where he's going to have the problem. He can't charge down a hill.
Oh,
Normally the high ground is an advantage, but for Doomfist, high ground is a pain in the ass.
Yes. But it does give him a good ability to engage.
Yes.
So he's got his third ability, his E ability. His E ability is where he kind of leaps forwards. And
then whenever you're in the air, you get this little kind of pizza slice.
Oh, yeah, pizza slice, sure.
Yep.
Yeah. And essentially, that's where you're going to land, and the cone in which you will hit people.
With a little kind of stun thing. How much damage does that thing do? It's not much.
It's not much. I think it's like 30. It's about as much as a melee attack from a normal hero.
And it kind of draws people in a bit, doesn't it?
Yes. People come closer to you rather than further away.
Which is weird, but sure, why not?
Well, I think it's so that you can finish them off with your left click.
Yeah, but it feels counterintuitive.
Yeah, it's not intuitive. Doomfist is not an intuitive hero to play.
No.
And I would say, in terms of just barrier to entry, and not skill cap, but barrier to entry,
Yeah.
he has a very high barrier to entry.
Yeah, he's difficult.
Yeah, like
It's going to be very easy to just die repeatedly and feed the enemy team with Doomfist, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I have no real sense of how he's actually going to play out. He's really difficult to judge.
I think he works well with dive. And in fact, I'm going to get onto something that I was kind of coming to earlier, which is he's a melee character that works with dive, which Reinhardt's having a hard time already at the moment.
Mm.
And I think Reinhardt's being put in the cupboard now. Maybe at some point in the future we'll get to pull Reinhardt out of the cupboard, but right now, this is not good.
I like Reinhardt being in the meta.
Me too.
And I just think because he's interesting to play around.
He consolidates teams and such. While I enjoy dive meta, it feels less teamy to me playing dive meta.
Which is actually interesting because I think it takes more teamwork to pull off properly.
Well, it's a more difficult team experience to do dive meta. I think in Overwatch, it's a team game in its essence. But what's nice about, say, a Reinhardt is it focuses the team. Where should you be? Behind
with
the shield.
Reinhardt, yeah.
Exactly. And on a dive meta, although, yes, it does require almost a greater team coordination, it's not as obvious team coordination. It actually makes it quite a lot more difficult.
Absolutely. Like, it is like herding cats sometimes, watching your 2 DPS go in because they got no one to stand behind.
I'm going to throw it out there. I think in a dive meta, the frustration levels in general are higher.
I'd agree. I'd
like
absolutely
people seem
agree.
to be getting much more salty, and yeah, I don't know.
Well, I think a lot of the salt at the moment is partly, I think Mercy meta is also quite rage-inducing.
I'm not seeing that in solo queue.
Okay.
Like, I'm not seeing people like raging at Mercy. I'm seeing people raging at their team for not being in the same place as them at the same time, kind of thing.
Okay. I'm seeing a lot of different types of rage, honestly. Like, just all sorts when it comes to people getting angry.
Yeah, well, maybe that's just competitive in general.
Maybe that is just, that's just humans.
No, I can't wait till they said they're going to work on, the whole punishment for people being idiots.
Yes, I'm looking forward to seeing how that turns out. But let's kind of get back to Doomfist and the meta. And I do think it's relevant to talk about the meta. Because whilst I can see how Doomfist would fit into a dive comp, I'm not sure he's the best hero for a dive comp. Because think about it this way, in terms of like mobility, he is not nearly as mobile as Tracer, Genji, Winston, Pharah, like D.Va. Yeah, absolutely.
He is still mobile though, and here's the thing: I'm just imagining a Winston jumping in and then Doomfist slamming in with the Winston, and just the havoc that would cause in a team.
Well, the thing about Doomfist that I'm finding is jumping into a whole load of people actually is not a great idea.
Right.
And I know that there's the Winston that goes with you, but I'm not sure, like, once you get in...
last ability.
Yeah, I mean, I know that so we actually haven't finished talking about his abilities, because one of his abilities is his passive ability, when he pins someone with his punch... No, when he connects with his punch...
Is it any of his punchy attacks?
I think it's
just his charge punch?
I can't tell. I haven't been paying enough attention, honestly. I just noticed that he gains... Barrier. Now, barrier is not like shields, because shields regenerate, and it's not like armor, because you don't get you don't get damage reduction.
It doesn't have damage reduction on it. Yeah.
Barrier is what Lucio gives you when he ults, which is an amount of extra health on top of your normal health that depletes. Now, unlike Lucio's barrier, it does not deplete very quickly. It's actually quite slow. I think it's about like 5 HP per second.
And you can stack up.
You can stack up a lot of it.
Is there a limit to how much you can stack up?
I think you can stack up about 200.
Okay.
It's quite a bit. Certainly 150 because I've been over. Oh no, He has to. No, because he can stack up over 100 definitely. Maybe up to 150. I've seen 380 as my health total, and he starts with 250.
Yes. Okay. Cool.
So yeah, kind of you can stack up quite a bit of extra health when you kind of get in and kind of start punching people. I don't know. He's really weird. I'm not so much concerned about his last ability in terms of like survivability, though he does use up all his abilities very quickly. I'm actually just wondering about like, how do you really take someone out?
His cooldowns are pretty short, to be fair.
But how do you really take someone out with Doomfist? Because you can actually hit someone with all three of your abilities and still not kill them.
But then you've got the fisty shotgun thing.
You do, but now you're using literally every single thing you've got to take out one hero. Is that good enough?
If you can do that with any character, that's amazing. Think about it. What's literally just been nerfed on Roadhog is that he used his abilities and took out one hero.
No, but that was two. That was his hook plus his primary
Roadhog
fire.
barely has any other abilities.
That is true.
If you can hit all your abilities and take out an enemy, then that's amazing.
Maybe.
Because let's say you played a team of 6 people who could just hit all their abilities and take out one person. At that point, you're winning every team fight. Like, if he has that kind of level of sniperiness. I mean, here's what we don't know. How he's going to work in an organised team.
Yes.
Like, that's what I can't quite envision yet.
It's
not because it's kind of super obscure, but just because it'd require a lot more playing.
Yeah, and on top of that, you've really got to learn to manage cooldowns with Doomfist. It is not easy to. I mean, first of all, a lot of his abilities are actually very difficult to hit.
Yes.
Like it's very difficult, very easy to whiff a charge. It's very easy to whiff on your landing when you're jumping at someone. There's just like loads of stuff where it's super easy to miss.
He kind of reminds me of Genji to some extent.
He does.
Like a super jumpy around DPS character who kind of wants to get in to do their damage, and yeah.
I think in some ways Doomfist may be what they were looking for when they first created Genji. Just in terms of, well, that ability to kind of, like, the way that everything kind of combos up, and each ability by itself isn't much. But when you start comboing them, they become quite interesting.
And it becomes very elegant as well.
Yes.
I think.
And when you start hitting kind of this into this into this into this, like, you know, where you jump and then you dive and then you charge at someone and then you finish them off with a left click. It's kind of like this nice little combo thing. It's kind of almost fightery. You know,
fighting gamey.
Yeah. That's kind of what it makes me think of.
Okay, so he hasn't been out for that long, but stacking up against other characters, Reaper seems to be very happy against Doomfist.
This does not surprise me.
Because Doomfist has to get in close, and then Reaper gets to offload shotguns onto him.
Yes.
So maybe there's a counter in that. Roadhog seems pretty good against Doomfist too.
Really? Now that's interesting.
Again, another hero that you don't necessarily want to get in close to. And also, like you were talking about, Doomfist can find himself having spaffed all his abilities. If he spaffs all his abilities and Roadhog just huffs on his gas tank so that he's back up to full health, at that point, Doomfist is a little bit sad.
Yeah, no, I can see that. I can see that.
Maybe this brings Roadhog back into the meta somewhat. And I wonder if the Roadhog nerfs were kind of with Doomfist in mind.
Maybe. I don't know. Because I think that Doomfist is going to be very sad against Genjis and Tracers. Very sad. Because I think
they have greater mobility and he won't be able to get him.
So much more mobility that they're not going to be able to get him.
Possibly. I wonder about Doomfist's capabilities on the flank.
Yes.
I think he might have to play quite closely with his team almost.
I really am struggling to judge how good Doomfist is because, you know, first of all, he's not easy to learn.
Yeah. So for at least the first couple of weeks, we're not going to be seeing good Doomfists.
Yeah. Second of all, I think that we're going to find that how you play alongside him, I don't know what to expect, because I know you're saying he works with Dive. I think it's going to be a very different style when you play with Doomfist.
How so?
I'm wondering if instead it's kind of like this slow team fight that you kind of build up like a fair amount of damage, and then he kind of alls in on it.
He's going to suck in that though, because unless he's doing his shotgun fist damage, which is
not great, is it?
It's pretty weak. He needs to do work. He needs to commit.
He does. I don't know.
That's why I think, slamming in with
I'm just thinking that as soon as you're in with Doomfist, you're in, and I think you're quite easy to kill once you've used a couple of abilities. And I know they're on...
like, if there's a Winston shield there, or if there's like a D.Va defense matrix around him, or if there's other divers coming in and putting the damage, he's going to thrive off the chaos of, slamming a team with a dive comp.
Maybe. I don't know.
I suspect.
I wonder if his cooldowns are just going to be a bit long.
It depends how many kills he's got by the time he runs out of cooldowns.
Yeah, I think you can literally use all your cooldowns engaging.
Yeah. But then you've got to think, with Monkey, you use all your cooldowns engaging.
It's true, but you get to play in and around your own shield.
Yes.
And soloing a Monkey who's good at dancing in and out of his own shield is very difficult. And your ability, and basically once your shield goes down, you have the ability to disengage. With Doomfist, what you can use literally everything just getting there, and then you have.
Well, that's something that a lot of characters suffer from. You don't want to use all your abilities getting in. Oh, so maybe he needs to get close enough.
This is what I'm saying. Like, he's very odd in. You can use easily two abilities to just to engage, because you want to use the uppercut to get up in the air, so you can then use your dive ability to actually get close to people. And once you're close to people, you've then only got your left click and your right click.
Maybe.
So that's what I'm kind of wondering, if maybe a dive meta is not precisely what he wants. I'm not sure. It's going to be interesting. I really do think it's difficult to judge in terms of what he's actually going to do.
Maybe. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about other Doomfist stuff. The trailer. This is a new direction that Blizzard have gone in with this one.
This is an anime trailer.
Yeah, 100% anime.
It's so cool.
The gist of it is, it's Genji, Tracer, and Winston versus Doomfist. So, yeah, there's a bit about Doomfist punching his way out of prison and the flashback of how he got into prison.
Yes, pretty much. It is how he got in and how he got out. It's kind of interspliced between each other. And he comes off as a bit of a badass.
Off this trailer, Micah, our editor, thought they were going to be a tank. And I think that's fair, because it has them blocking loads and loads of damage.
Well, let's be honest. He does have that ability to gain lots of health. Okay, no, fair enough. He's not really a tank. Well, you can get up to 380, which is kind of tank level.
Yeah, no, I dig, but you have to do a lot to get to 380, right?
You do, but also you're going to continually gain damage as health as the fight goes on. So the more damage...
Not if your cooldown's rough.
That's true.
Because I'm pretty sure it's only your cooldown abilities that give you...
Oh, yeah, no, left click does nothing for your barrier. Yeah,
barrier, whatever it's called.
No, I can totally see how Micah would think Doomfist is a tank. Yeah.
So, yeah, but it reminded me a bit of Ninja Scroll, if you've ever seen that.
I didn't.
Oh, because there's this big earth guy who throws this spinny thing, and when Doomfist hurls a car door at Genji, I was like, Ninja Scroll much?
No, fair enough.
Okay.
Didn't see it. I can't really comment.
Okay, you should watch Ninja Scroll at some point. It's so cool.
I will put that on my list.
Excellent. What else to say about this? Aesthetically on Doomfist, a lot of left nipple.
Yes. To go with Genji and Hanzo.
Yep. All the left nipple in the world. That's a thing.
I just thought the way they introduced him was very good. Okay, so one thing that actually should be mentioned, not voiced by Terry Crews.
Oh, yeah, this was a big thing. Right. You see, I was massively in the Terry Crews camp.
And then he came out.
I'm okay with him not being Terry Crews.
I think that they made him quite a dark character.
Yeah. And Terry Crews is quite lighthearted and comedy, even when he's being a kind of, badass.
And I think the direction they've gone really suits Doomfist. I think it makes him...
for starters, he's African, and Terry Crews is American.
Yes.
Now, maybe Terry Crews can do a cool, African accent, but I don't know. Can he? I've not heard him do anything like that.
I've not heard his ability to do accents at all.
But yeah, the whole African brooding thing he has going on in this is
yes, very, very nice. The thing I was going to say is, when it comes to scare factor, in terms of actual menace, who's more menacing, Reaper or Doomfist? And I think Doomfist just has so much more.
Whoa, Reaper's just. Who's more menacing, Tracer or Reaper? Tracer. Yeah. Reaper is the least menacing thing on the roster.
Absolutely, but it's one of those things of, I think, when you look, he's not campy.
Yeah, he's really not camp at all.
Which doesn't, it's not usual for the Overwatch heroes. Most of them are kind of camped up in that sort of maybe not stereotypical, but they're playing to these traits, right? Like Genji is, I'm going to be all Zen.
Cyber ninja trope. Yeah.
Exactly. Zenyatta literally being a cyber monk. It's Winston. It is all very campy. Oh my goodness! And the less said about Tracer, the better. But Doomfist is not campy, and he's kind
of straight down the line villain.
Yes.
And there's not really any other tropes attached to him aside from the villain trope.
I just think he's menacing. In a way, in a lot of ways, he doesn't seem to have an agenda so much as just believing that...
His agenda is natural selection, essentially, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Humans. Yeah, he believes that humans get stronger through conflict, and that's his thing. Yeah. And it's just kind of interesting.
Yeah. But no, I am happy with him not being Terry Crews.
I'm very happy with him not being Terry Crews.
There's a lot of people kind of shouting about that on the internet at the minute, but I don't think it's that serious. And yeah, like we said, I don't think Terry Crews would have really worked for this.
No. Well, they would have chosen a different direction if they'd gone with Terry Crews. Yeah. I'm assuming that lore-wise, this is just what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I think that I'm glad they stuck with their guns on this. I think it really works.
Speaking of lore, he's another one of the bosses of Talon. So I assume he's on a vaguely similar rank to Reaper?
I assume so. It sounds like there's kind of a circle of leaders.
Yeah.
I don't
quite
how...
That's a cabal.
Yes, Talon Cabal. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of interesting. I assume we're going to slowly have more of them revealed, and kind of what their overall thrust is and what they actually want in the world is going to be.
Well, I mean, they all want different things, right?
Well, yeah, but I assume they got to have a reason for working together.
Well, they're bad guys. But no, part of, I think, in fact, let's get on to Jeff in the dev video. One of the things he says in the dev video is you have this kind of shady cabal who they're kind of all in Talon, but they don't always agree.
Mm.
So I like this idea that the bad guys have their own agendas. And in fact, we see that a little bit with Sombra, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Where she just goes completely off-piste with Reaper's plan.
Yeah, exactly. And that's good. That's classic bad guy troping right there. Vying for leadership. They all have their own plans, but they're all the bad guys. I mean, Reaper clearly wants the downfall of Overwatch because he's all salty about that stuff. Doomfist wants his, conflict in the world so humanity becomes stronger. Mm. It's all very supervillain.
It is very supervillain.
I like it.
Yes. It's gonna be interesting.
What else can be said about the dev video? Jeff is in another hockey shirt like the D.Va one.
Yeah.
Due to the colours, this one doesn't look quite so odd on him, although it still just looks massive on him.
That's because he's not wearing the pads. You wear the pads.
Yeah, but the whole, I don't even.
I think he should just wear the pads in the future. I'm wondering if we're going to get a hockey... Oh, we've already got Lucio.
Yeah, exactly. But maybe there's going to be more hockey stuff going on. I don't know.
No idea.
But anyway, it's like Overwatch branded, just kind of shirt. It's nice, I guess, if you like that kind of thing. I don't really get it. Yeah. We're not American is the thing here.
Yeah, we're not the target audience for this.
Yeah, we're really not. We don't really understand.
I know nothing.
But yeah. So dev video. It basically just goes over what we've been talking about just now.
But it's Jeff, so you may want to watch it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you should. We haven't talked about Doomfist Ultimate.
Oh, we totally haven't. Doomfist Ultimate is interesting and weird. Essentially, what happens is Doomfist disappears, a target appears on the ground instead, and you get to move the target around and then fire Doomfist at the target from nowhere.
Reminds me of is in your Call of Duty games where you get to call down airstrikes once you've killed X many people.
Oh, fair enough. It makes me think of...
the airstrike is Doomfist.
Yes. It makes me think of... I think it was Crash Bandicoot that had this in as a boss fight, where one of the bosses could essentially do this exact thing where they would disappear, a target would appear on the ground, and you'd have to run away from the target, otherwise you'd die. So I go to a more cartoony place. Yeah.
I hadn't really seen enough of it to know how it's going to affect the world. But he just smashes people he lands on, right?
Yes, there's quite a delay between clicking and landing.
But if there was, say, a Zarya ult...
Yes, that would be...
splattering into that would be hideous.
Yes, absolutely. Much more effective than a Genji ult. Much more effective than even a Pharah ult.
On a level with a Hanzo ult?
I think actually better. I think it
depends how much damage he actually does when he splats in.
I think...
If it's like a single off big burst, then...
I'll tell you what, I reckon it's probably similar to a Tracer ult. In terms of damage. Yep. But with splash damage, a larger radius of splash damage, but much easier to escape. Yeah. So by itself, probably worthless. I don't know what else you'd use to combo. There's no other combo ability that I can think of. I suppose...
It reminds me a little bit of D.Va's ult, in that there's a big telegraph, and you have time to get out of the way of the thing, but if you can't get out of the way of the thing, you get kind of splattered.
Yes, I think that's about right. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Do we have anything else to say about Doomfist?
No, I'm just looking forward to him.
His shirt.
His shirt?
Right. You know how Doomfist is not wearing his shirt?
Yes.
The bit of cloth around his waist, he's got... You know when you take off your shirt and you tie it around your waist?
Yes.
That's what he's got.
Oh.
You can see the arms tied at the front, and it's all raggedy at the back. So he's tied a shirt around his waist, he's got into all his fights, and his shirt's got trashed.
And now he's just keeping it as a memento?
Well, maybe... Right, here's what I think. He was wearing the shirt before he put on the Doomfist.
Uh-huh.
So he took his shirt off, because his shirt clearly isn't going to work with the Doomfist on.
Yeah, the Doomfist is quite large.
Right, and he's been running around for a couple of days now with the Doomfist. The shirt's got a bit trashed, and he hasn't really been paying attention to the shirt.
Yeah, all sounds very plausible.
Yep. That's about it.
Fair enough. It's an incredible conspiracy theory.
Well, it's just interesting that he has a shirt tied around his waist. It's quite an odd concept, right?
Maybe
that's like a 90s grunge thing, is it?
Anyway, the 90s are kind of coming back in terms of fashion.
I guess so. He's almost got an adamant thing going over his nose.
Oh, I thought like adamantium?
No, adamant, as in the pop star.
Fair enough, I haven't looked closely enough.
Okay, because, he's got that white thing over his nose, like adamant.
Yeah. You know what I don't know anything about?
Stand and Deliver?
I can't remember
the video. Doesn't matter.
Can't remember.
Okay.
The thing that occurs to me is I actually have no idea what his hitbox is like.
I think he's pretty big.
It looks like he's certainly much bigger than most offense heroes.
Yes.
So that's going to be interesting. I don't know. I'm so intrigued. I'm so intrigued.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how this develops.
Yeah, I do.
Unless, of course, it develops that Reinhardt is now dead, which would make me kind of sad.
I do worry that he may suffer in a similar way to Orisa, where he's got a whole bunch of cool abilities, and it's difficult to actually do anything with him.
So what I'd see him suffering as in Orisa's vein is that he might be quite specialist while there's a load of generalists in the game.
Yeah.
Which, yeah.
I'd agree.
This is, to take it back to, as we often do, talking about Team Fortress 2, this is a problem that a lot of the characters had in Team Fortress 2, where in competitive Team Fortress 2, you only actually ran, 4 out of the 9 characters in that game.
Yes.
Because the 4 characters you ran were the generalists who were good in every situation. And the characters that were only good in specific situations, you saw them once in a blue moon, but honestly, just no.
Yeah, they just weren't good enough of the time to see play. They weren't consistent enough is probably what I'd say.
Yeah. And it's not even that. It's because people... I mean, this is in competitive, but also to a lesser extent in quick play, because people see that these, the meta is these particular characters. When someone plays something off meta, people kind of shit the bed and start playing worse because they're freaking out because, oh my God, someone's playing Attack Torb. Like, to blame a game's loss just because someone's picked Torb on Attack, it's silly.
I'm totally with you. It's so difficult because one of the things that is good about generalists is you can kind of get a sense of what they should be doing and the fact they should be having on the game, and you know how to play with that. I think one of the problems with off-meta heroes is because the usual stuff that they want, which is usually pretty much damage, isn't coming in, and instead you're getting a different type of utility, such as, zoning off using Torbjorn's turret.
Sombra is a great example of this.
Sombra hacking up all the health packs, all those sort of things. It can be very difficult to know how to attack with these off-meta heroes because you just don't get the practice.
Yeah.
And I do think that Sombra is one of those heroes that's not bad, that she's actually quite strong.
Oh, Sombra's crazy strong. She just has a very high skill floor and skill ceiling.
And not just that, but she's also just not easy to play with in terms of...
Yeah, it requires a lot of teamwork to get everything out of Sombra.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so, I mean, we've almost talked for 40 minutes on Doomfist, so this is going to be a long episode anyway. Should we move on for now? Let's come back to Doomfist in a week and we can talk about how things have developed.
Yes, when not everyone is playing Doomfist all at once.
Yes, entirely, and we can get some sense of it. Although, again, it's the whole PTR thing. I've noticed people have started saying again, they were like, why don't you let us test things more in the PTR? And it's because the PTR is useless for testing balance.
Oh my God, it's
absolute
so shit.
Trash for testing balance. So please, let's not go back to the whole thing of people saying, oh, we should be allowed to test balance in the PTR and Blizzard should listen to us. No. Okay, good.
I'm glad we cleared that up.
Excellent. Let's move on.
Yes.
There's a new D.Va statue.
Yeah. It's very detailed.
So
it's
this
quite
is one
large.
of the big uns. This is one of the big uns. You've got the Reaper statue. You've got the big Tracer statue. Who else have you got?
Widowmaker.
Oh, yeah, that's it. And is it only those 4?
Soldier, but I think you only got Soldier with the big and weird box.
Yes, no, you're entirely right. Yeah. So D.Va is a whopping 19 inches of pleasure.
Anything's a dildo if you're brave enough. That would not. That would be a.
Whoa! Oh, that would be flangy.
That would be
side fins.
Yeah, that would not go.
No, that would
there'd be internal bleeding, definitely.
Yep. And okay, let's get back. Pulling it back in. It is D.Va's mech with D.Va sitting on the mech. I think this is one of her victory poses.
It is exactly one of her victory poses, and I think it looks really cool.
Yeah, totally. There's loads of detail. It's hand painted.
Yeah,
it has stuff.
I gotta throw it out there. I think this is the coolest one of the lot by a significant margin.
Yes, and it even has a transparent bit where there's a transparent bit. That's clever.
Yeah, it's all very nice. It looks just really good. It's really good.
But it's huge. Where would you put this in your life? This couldn't go on the edge of your computer desk. This would take half of your computer desk.
You'd need a proper place for
a display cabinet.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Also, interestingly, you know how on all the other statuette things,
I do.
They had the diagonal height thing that pissed me off.
Tell me more.
They don't have a diagonal height thing on this.
My goodness, they learned.
Maybe they listened to me.
I assume so. That's the only possible explanation.
Yeah, entirely. They must have listened to this podcast, and no, they didn't. But, they might have done.
They might have done. The one thing that I remember from this is they for the animations, a lot of the close-ups come from the Genji D.Va versus Diablo demon, whose name I think it's Asmodan.
Oh, right, yeah. Oh,
and
what,
so he's got
the video?
Yeah, so she's got her weird, like, squashy goblin face rather than her normal kind of, you know, much smaller and more in proportion face, and it looks...
Oh, is that... Right,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, I'm glad you got what I meant.
Because
I
her
assume
face looks a bit weird in the model.
it's just not the same proportions at all. Like, her head is just way larger on that model, and just the facial proportions are different.
It has got the Heroes of the Storm D.Va face, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Huh. That's weird. I hadn't even
very
considered
strange.
that. Oh, well, fair enough.
I mean, I assume they just liked the way that the animation was done in terms of how it moves, and it's one of the better quality animations of D.Va, because actually she's only had a very short appearance in the teaser trailer.
Yep.
So I guess that's why they did it, but yeah, I'm still just like, I would have preferred in-game footage. Whatever.
Yeah, happens.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Yeah, it's cool. Also, D.Va does have massive feet.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Well, maybe that's because her legs aren't long enough, and so they strapped extra things to the feet so she could push the paddles, because she's too small.
Oh, maybe, okay, there's a load of electronics built into her shoes for accepting inputs from her toes.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. Like,
That's how you pilot mechs.
Absolutely.
You use your toes. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Glad we cleared that up. Okay, hitbox problems.
Yes. Now, this is just one of those things where I wonder how long this has been in the game. I assume since the beginning. And the game has been out for over a year now. But it turns out that Winston has a weird little problem when he gets flashbanged, where his hitbox does not move with his character model.
What I'm assuming is happening here is something that again happened with Team Fortress 2, where certain animations didn't change the hitbox.
Yes, I think exactly that is happening. But it's really noticeable on Winston because of how big the movement is when you flashbang him.
Yes. And he's constantly in a kind of gorilla hunch.
Yeah.
And then when he gets flashbanged, he properly reels back.
Absolutely. So it's just interesting to see that, like, how long these things can go undiscovered before someone goes, you know, I'm really having problems hitting that flashbang Winston.
Yeah, let me actually find out what's going on with that.
Yeah, and then realizing, no, there's an actual problem there.
Well, hopefully now it's getting a bit more airtime.
Exposure.
People will... Exposure, that's the word I was looking for, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Hopefully people sort it out. And lastly, there has been various bits of activity on the forums, as we always like to follow. But none of them were as interesting as this is our cat in the street tree story, where after the news they have something foible-ish that then picks you up and goes, oh, after watching the news, which is invariably depressing. Someone started a thread on the forums asking, what is the highest level you've seen? Jeff Kaplan has replied, level 3,218.
Fucking hell. That's
Which I'm assuming that's the highest in the game, because Jeff Kaplan can see all of the game if he wants.
yeah, can just kind of go.
And that's, okay, what level am I? I haven't hit 600 yet, because I'm not even silver.
Yeah, it's
That's someone who plays a lot.
I assume they've just been beating it every day since it came out.
Some people have been playing this game a ridiculous amount since it came out.
Yeah. I mean, I've played it a lot. I mean a
But
lot.
you go to work and stuff,
I do.
so that's however many hours a day that you are not playing this game,
Yeah, 8 hours a day.
at least.
Minimum.
And then sometimes you eat. I'm pretty sure
Occasionally.
some of these people might be, you know, having intravenous nutrients.
I assume so. That is the only way. It's a lot. It's a very high level.
You don't get special portraits for that high, do you?
No, you run out quite a bit before that. Quite a bit before that.
Is it 2,600, I believe?
Something like that. I can't remember.
I've just read that.
I think it's 2,000. Oh, is it? I thought it was 2,800, but sure.
I could be wrong. Well, the person I'm reading could be wrong, rather.
But, oh, wow.
But yeah, that's a lot. And speaking of spending too much time doing something, this is actually quite a smooth segue. That's it. We should call the show.
I agree.
Do you see what I did there? Because they'd been spending too much time doing something, and us in recording this particular show. We've been spending too much time doing this.
You're very clever. I'm
I
so
know,
glad
right?
you explained it to me. I wouldn't have gotten it.
Oh, it's got awkward fast, didn't it?
Shall we just go and shoot people in video games?
We should go and, yes. I've been Ruskeydoo.
I've been Grey, and this has been awkward.
Good night. Bon appetit.
Ciao.